Now, moving our focus now over to Rwanda, and joining us on the line to discuss the Rwandan local currency bond issue is Andrew Cross, who's the head of IFC Treasury Client Solutions for Africa and Latin America. Andrew, thank you for your time. We have seen some appetite when it comes to local bond currencies. There, we have seen some of our other African countries coming to the front. Zambia, for example, had a very good uptake. What has been the appetite for Rwanda?
Yeah, no, look, thank you very much, and good afternoon to all your listeners. Firstly, if I can start with just offering my condolences and deepest sympathy for all those that are affected by the bombing today. But let me take your question. We've seen very, very significant interest in the local currency bonds that we've done in the last year and 18 months in Nigeria, Zambia, and Rwanda in the sub-Saharan Africa region. Typically an awful lot of support from domestic investors, local banks and pension funds and insurance companies, but also significant interest from international investors, whether they be East Africa, whether they be Southern African, and also a lot of genuine interest out of Europe as these markets are growing and developing.
Andrew, let's talk about the yields because you had an issue yesterday. At what rate are these coming at?
Yeah, that's a very fair question. The IFC issued a 5-year bond yesterday with a coupon of 12.25%. The bond size was 15 billion Rwandan francs, and we were very pleased and delighted to receive orders well in excess of twice the amount of the bonds that we actually placed in the market.
Now, this is obviously done in order to raise funds. Where in the Rwandan economy do you think that these funds would be best deployed?
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable question. I think the corporation's goal in coming into these markets is really to make a contribution to the growth in the domestic capital markets. I think the Rwandan authorities, the central bank and the Ministry of Finance, have a very clear vision about how they want to grow local markets. And I think really the purpose of growing the local markets is to enable savings and funds to move from those that have it into the areas that need it in terms of funding significant infrastructure projects that are available in Rwanda.
Does the IFC have a specific target in terms of how much money it's looking to raise, and where else on the continent are you looking to these local, local bond currencies? You've mentioned a few: Zambia, Rwanda. Where else?
Yeah, the corporation back in May 2012 announced a Pan-African Domestic Medium-Term Note Program. Your program was kind enough to highlight that to your listeners. That's really a goal about how can the corporation assist a number of countries in the growth of their domestic capital markets. You touched on a few. We're also looking at other countries, which would include countries like Ghana, countries like Kenya, countries like Uganda, just to name a few. It's also very much part of a real intentional plan about how do you use local currency, which doesn't have any foreign exchange risk, to fund the growth of markets and to fund developments, whether that be in infrastructure, whether that be in financial institutions, and whether that be in manufacturing and agriculture, those being the 3 main focuses typically for the corporation.
Andrew, thank you so much for giving us an update on that. That was Andrew Cross, head for IFC Treasury Client Solutions for Africa and Latin America.